In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Riemy. She's heading over basically from the folks over at FixFlo. She's a senior growth marketing manager, and today we want to really deep dive into how building maintenance can be made way smarter with FixFlo, and how Riemy is thinking about growth for the company. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Lucas. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe give us a quick insight. What would you say is, FixFlow all about in your own words?
Yeah, of course. Before we get into the thick of it, whilst I hold my position at FixFlo, this chat is all my personal view,
Sure.
albeit I'm sure shared by many like-minded colleagues back in the office. I hope.
Sure.
So anyway, so FixFlo, we are all about empowering property managers to keep their offices and homes safe from maintenance issues. And that means over a million, 1.6 million spaces on the platform actually these days. Back nearly maybe 10 years ago, our founder realized that it was a pain to get repairs fixed. The barriers to getting stuff done were plentiful. There's communication, information not being shared, market forces like costs and labor availability or inavailability. So it was a
Hmm.
huge problem to stop people from really enjoying their spaces. And it's so important. Think about, where we are situated now. I'm in a nice office. Hopefully you are too, maybe at home. I'm not sure, Lucas.
We
But
always switch. We always switch actually between.
awesome. And I hope that your space is being kept free from repairs. And that is such a baseline of enjoying life. Enjoying life with your family, with your workers, colleagues. Everyone should be able to feel safe and find that their space is enjoyable. And this is why we exist. It's all about um, giving people the baseline to really enrich their lives in that space. And I hope yeah, I hope that is shared by my colleagues actually. Think about it.
Very cool. Now, what would you say? Who's a great fit? Like, what types of organizations benefit the most? Maybe characterize them a little bit. Who's, a sweet spot client for FixFlow?
Yeah, of course. So when you look at really who our direct customers are these days, um, they will be management companies of spaces that are being managed. So, for example, in the so we're London based, and in England alone, about 4.4 million homes are privately rented out. And on top of that, think about the rest of the UK's countries. We have Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. So that means our customer base are all over the place, and with a lot of them really struggling to manage the barriers to getting things done, really, like the things I said earlier. And the product is developed primarily to help those people. And indirectly, that means everyone else involved. That's the tradespeople, people who actually come in with the toolbox to get things fixed.
Hmm.
That's also the owners of the properties, because if the property is managed well, then the value would retain and increase over time. And of course, finally, and most importantly, at the heart of what we do, our occupiers, they will have a good space to be in. So we have our direct customers and indirect customers, and all of whom we think about when we develop our products and marketing strategies.
Hmm. Very cool. Now, how do these folks learn about FixFlow? Like, how would you describe their journey? Like, what are the client acquisition channels you guys leverage?
Um, yeah, of course. So before the how, we always think about the why, and we have three very key value prop benefits that we abide by. We believe that people need help with just managing a really complex and time expensive process of repairs and maintenance. They need help navigating compliance standards. And also they really need to exceed their customer expectations because competition is strife in this marketplace that they are in.
Mm-hmm.
And as we utilize this, that means our acquisition channels all emulate these messages. Before the start of this podcast, we actually spoke briefly about whether or not we are an inbound-led organization. 100%, because it's the frankly the most cost-effective way of running marketing acquisition strategy from my point of view in with this particular product type. We have customers using various channels to look for resources to help them achieve these three goals of being compliant, delighting their customers, and running an effective operation. And by keeping this in mind, our content marketing emulate these values benefits in their output. Our PPC strategy also emulate these in their campaigns. And we also have a really successful webinar program, not yet a podcast, but I might be stealing some ideas from you, Lucas. So all of our content and inbound channels use these three benefits as the golden thread, stringing the journey along.
Very cool. Now, in their journey, how do you personally think about the website? Like, what role actually do you think does the website play in that overall buyer's journey?
That's a very interesting thought. I think the website is a launch pad. We need it as a place to display information that's digestible in a split second. But ultimately, it's the whole journey that leads to that website. Of course, we track, everything from traffic to conversion rate, and also actual conversion, like the number of leads coming through various forms. But ultimately, it's the entire funnel that matters. The website is a component of it. It needs to emulate the messaging you've put out along the way, so that people don't lose track and drop off. But yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. Is there something that you've learned, like as a marketer? Like, I mean, that can be with, with FixFlo, it can be actually, in previous roles. Like, what helps, converting people from the pages? Any approaches, methods, tools that you've come across over the years when it comes to, in your case, for example, generating those get crawled requests?
Yeah. So apart from keeping the benefits and value proposition alive along the customer journey, one thing I'd say is I've been in organizations where customers can be listened to more. And here at FixFlo, if there's one way I would describe our growth and marketing strategy, and even just really the entire company strategy, one thing I can say is really proudly that we're super customer led. We take listening to customers very seriously. And from across the board, before sales conversation to post onboarding reviews, us in the marketing team, we digest a lot of information to make informed guesses. And these are only guesses because I really believe in the beta phase as a testing ground for new products and new marketing approaches. It saved us from potential blunders, prevented us from maybe wasting marketing monies. And I firmly believe we will continue to reap advantage and learn a lot from taking customer-led approaches seriously.
Very cool. Super, super interesting. I mean, we talked a lot about now what you guys are doing, who you're serving, types of customers you're working with. We talked a bit about growth and the different growth approaches. Now, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your journey as a marketer, right? So there is so much content out there for marketers these days. You know, there's so much noise, but also so much valuable content. Where do you personally find this, you know, nuggets of insights? Is there any sort of platforms, blogs, groups where you find you're really getting a lot of good marketing insights?
Yeah, of course. Um, I would say there's only so much time you have in a day, and before selecting what to digest, put aside time in your calendar, um, even if it's 15 minutes to start with every day. Just have that time for yourself that is not about your core work, but working on enriching your knowledge, and that is so important. On my in my little special Remy time, I go hang out with my friends in so we have content marketing meetup groups in London. Those friends are great. And recently I've taken on product marketing under my remit as well. And
Mhm.
so my PMA friends are awesome on Slack. And um product-led books are awesome. There's one I think called Obviously Awesome about positioning.
Yep.
That's pretty good. I would recommend that. Of course, Lucas's podcast here. Um,
Appreciate it.
I've come to learn about this podcast when Lucas approached me with an interview request, and wow, really interesting insights from previous interviewees. Highly recommend.
Very good. So as we're slowly wrapping it up, I got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready for those?
Let's see.
I mean, you mentioned already April Dunford's book, The Obviously Awesome, but what is the last book that you read?
Um, Last book that I read, maybe last book that I'm still reading, I can't forget, but it's Hawking's Theory of Everything, and it's completely not about marketing. It's not even
Hmm.
about business, but it's about astrophysics,
Hmm.
and it's so grounding and so scientific, and it makes it so much easier to be proud to say, guys, friends at work, let's not go ahead until we validate this. Because guess what? Until it's proven, it's an unknown. And if
Hmm.
Hawking says that, I can say that proudly.
Nice. What's the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Mm. Um, I would say it's about taking listening to customer to another scale. We, like I said before, we have loads of touch points with customer. I would quite like us to say that we also take their behavioral data into part of that listening exercise. So how they adapt and not adapt to features is very much a big part of our focus at the moment. If we're not building things that are useful for our customers, then what are we here to do? You know, how are we here to keep spaces safe and enjoyable for
Hmm.
people?
Very good. And for the very last question, right? If we do a little bit of time travel and we go back to the days of when you joined FixFlo, what is 3.5, nearly 4 years ago at some point soon, what would be the one advice that you would give yourself for your journey?
Oh, it is definitely a luxury to think about this. So thank you for granting me this luxury. I would say, Remy, go close the laptop, bring a notebook, and go and watch customers use the product. Go and talk to customers who did not buy the product. Watch them do their job, because you're not competing with your normal, competitors. You're not competing with people who are in your keyword position 1 to 10. You're competing with tools that you may not even be aware of. And so until we know what we're trying to achieve in terms of acquiring customers, um, don't start work. go and talk to customers, and maybe bring back the fresh ideas you would have learned with the team who have been stuck into the product for a bit longer than you have.
I appreciate you took the time with us today, right, to give us an insight on Fixflo. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Fixflo, what's the one thing people should remember?
One thing to remember is my colleagues and I, we are working in this product so that if you are in a managed space, we want to help your property managers keep your homes and offices safe and enjoyable.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathfund Presents.
Thanks, Lucas.